Welcome back, everyone. This is still Journalist Hangout on Sunday. We now have Adewale Adeoye in the studio with us. Happy Sunday to you. Thank you for joining us this evening. Right. It is no longer news that Nigeria has about 20.2 million out-of-school children, and experts are worried. As such, the mayor of London Borough of Southwark in the United Kingdom, Councillor Michael Shitu, has partnered a UK-based non-governmental organization, IA Foundation, to raise awareness and funds to take vulnerable children off the streets and return them to school. At an awareness and fundraising event in commemoration of the 5th anniversary of the foundation in London, the mayor and other dignitaries described the menace as a time bomb that must be immediately checked. I share the story by TVC News Nelson Etta with you.
According to the United Nations Education, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, Nigeria has about 20.2 million out-of-school children. The menace has become a source of worry for experts and concerned groups.
My name is Councillor Michael.
A non-governmental organization based in the United Kingdom, IA Foundation, partnered with the Mayor of London Borough of Southwark, Councillor Michael Shitu, to raise awareness and funds to help reduce the number of out-of-school children. The Borough of Southwark is considered the home of the highest number of Nigerians in the UK, hence the large turnout of the Nigerian community in London. Dignitaries, including the acting Nigerian High Commissioner to the United Kingdom, Ambassador Cyprian Hien, attended the event. In her opening remarks, the founder of IA Foundation, Iberonke Adeogbo, said the rising number of out-of-school children who have grown up without skills except crime to survive contributes to insecurity ravaging Nigeria. According to her, the correlation between illiteracy and insecurity is an unholy one.
Those children of those days that were roaming the streets, nobody paid attention to them. Those children have now grown up. They have no skills. They are not economically active. Therefore, the only thing they can do is to resort to crime. There is therefore a correlation between illiteracy and insecurity, and it's an unholy one. If you do not educate your citizens, the result of it is insecurity.
The chairman of the foundation stressed that IA is resolute to bringing down the number of out-of-school children in the country. He emphasized that every Nigerian must be intentional about the task.
The energy, the zeal, the passion which he has demonstrated in establishing this foundation has driven us to make sure that we do what is required to give the children in our country, Nigeria, which is a great nation, to give them the opportunity to succeed.
Underserved communities.
Stressing the importance of education, Ambassador Hien called on Nigerians to invest efforts in getting the children off the streets, saying the government cannot do it all.
The IA Foundation has been remarkable in addressing this vital issue through the provision of education to less privileged children in slums and underserved communities across Nigeria. Your efforts to tackle barriers to education is indeed applauded and acknowledged. Together, we can make a meaningful impact, and together, we can ensure that the dance of out-of-school children in Nigeria comes to an end.
The host of the event, Councillor Shitu, said education is the only tool that can empower individuals to discover their potential in life.
Education allows you as an individual to realize your full potential, to just be who you are, to know what you're capable of. Because if you don't know what you're capable of, how would you be able to explore? How would you be able to try it out? And our young kids, our children, should get that opportunity. We know that an educative community is a community that can ensure that the country prosper. We also know that with a strong educative children, that we can ensure that we avoid a situation where our children are not achieving the best in itself. Nigeria can be a great country. We can only do that with a strong and educative community.
the founder, Iberonke Adiago, confirmed that IA Foundation has concluded plans to hold another fundraiser in Lagos on the 2nd of March to raise funds that will be used to put children in school.
Gentlemen, this is a great initiative in addressing the educational disparities out there. Bikio.
Yes, the out-of-school children syndrome is a big problem. It's a big problem, and unfortunately for us, in the last 10 years, the number of out-of-school children has been growing in geometric proportion. It's even made worse by insecurity. Look at what Boko Haram has done in the Northeast, for example. They do not want to see people get educated in the Western way. So they came up with the idea of Boko Haram. Boko Haram itself means education is forbidden. So they've destroyed many schools, they've killed many teachers, they've set ablaze school buildings, they've killed students that they found in school premises. So given this kind of situation, parents will think twice about even allowing their wards to go to school. And what they've done in Borno State is to build mega schools in the urban centers, especially the state capital, where children who cannot go to school in areas deemed unsafe can have quality education. But it's not enough. You go to the Northwest, children are targeted for abduction by bandits. I can tell you that in states like Zamfara, states like Katsina, many schools have been shut, and there are no plans to even reopen them. Boarding facilities are no longer the norm. So we've got to do a lot to sensitize our people, let them realize that education is of tremendous value. We need to do our best to boost school enrollment. And you can actually also come up with laws that criminalize getting your children to hawk pure water and other things on the streets when their mates are in school. I think Kaduna State has criminalized that. So if they find such a child roaming the streets, the parents will be in trouble. We can also build more school infrastructure, because in places where they've been destroyed, we shouldn't just give up. We have to build new school infrastructure so that the students can find school pleasurable. Beyond that, I think that governments also need to subsidize education on a great scale. There are many people who drop out of school. They go to primary school, but it stops there because they've not got the money to finance the education of their children. Some are brilliant, but they can't go to tertiary institutions because their parents don't have money. So government needs to subsidize education and not be tempted to see education as a money spinner. No. That would discourage a lot of people, because there are many parents who can't pay exam fees of their children, they can't pay school fees. So education must be at least up to secondary level. It must be free. It must not be made for the highest bidder. So this will help us a great deal, and we can tackle the issue of insecurity. Hopefully, we'll reduce these numbers.
Thank you, Bikio. Adeoye, it's actually very impressive to see that Nigeria is now at the center of international efforts to tackle this menace.
First of all, I think I need to commend the initiative of this individual. It shows clearly that development is not a business of the government, it's not the business of the government alone. that civil society organizations, individuals, we can make our country a better place. It's not just enough to criticize the government. We need to see what we can do for our country to make it a better place. And I think what we have seen now is this private individual that has distributed over 4,000 learning aids, more than 100 students, pupils have benefited, who probably had no hope, by this great initiative. So I think it's a challenge to all of us who want a better country, that there are a lot of things we can do as individuals. And I think this area is very critical to human development, education. It is the greatest investment any country can look up to in the world, because education fights ignorance, it leads to sustainable development, it promotes critical thinking and makes you to be a better person in society. And that's why you see that the areas where the people are least exposed to education is where you have preponderance of violence, of insecurity, of poverty. In fact, the state with the highest rate of out-of-school children is Kebbi, then followed by Zamfara, Bauchi. Borno is fighting hard to get out of that menace, with just about 1.8 million pupils out of school. But that's still a huge number. So when you look at terrorism and all sort of things, they are very common in areas where people are least exposed to education. And the fact is that when a child is growing up, like John Locke said, the mind is tabula rasa, it's empty. The child will grow up to determine what is good and bad based on the environment, influences, based on material relations in the environment. So if there is no education, a child will grow up to see violence as a culture. He will grow up to see banditry as a culture, because there are all sorts of evil forces there that are ready to tap into the fertile mind of those that don't have access to education. And I think we need to begin to take this serious. If an individual can do this, what are the 30 state governments doing? The 774 local governments in the country. Because Nigeria, as we speak now, we have about 20 million out-of-school children. This is a ticking time bomb that puts our life, at great risk. And Nigeria is one of the 3 countries in the world with the highest number of people or children out of school. Nigeria is one of them. We have India, Pakistan, and Nigeria, with over 20 million out-of-school children. That's more than the population of some countries. All right. So it's a challenge, and I think that he has shown a good example. State governments can also have a policy of, taking away out-of-school children. Local governments can also do the same thing. If 7 local governments do this, it will contribute a lot to reducing the number of people out of school.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. Let's take our next conversation.